we're going to take the next half hour to talk a little bit about systems, which is a whole lot of stuff. That's a big umbrella that we're going to be talking about here. And with me to talk about it is Steelstar and Lynnabel. So let's start with Steelstar. Say hello, Steelstar.
Hey, everybody.
And Lynnabel, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Awesome. All right. So you've been very busy, both of you, in recent months. Everything from getting the Tabaxi out, because Tabaxi is a part of Isle of Dread, even if they debuted with the live game here during the pre-sale, right? So that's some of the work that you've been doing, but not just that. We've also been dealing with a level cap increase, but not just that. We've also been dealing with things like, Epic Destiny work and what have you to support the level cap increase. And not only that, but we got a whole bunch of loot and such to talk about as well. So we actually have quite a bit to talk about. The video is really a looped video. It's about 18 minutes long. So we'll see how much of this gets looped back around. But I'm starting here with just a little bit of a look at the Tabaxi. Now, it's weird to have Tabaxi in a preview because you can already play the Tabaxi right now today on live with your Isle of Dread pre-purchase. But since this is kind of a preview for the wider group out there, I wanted to just sort of introduce the idea that, Tabaxi's here now with Isle of Dread and give the two of you the chance to talk just a little bit about it, because that's been a lot of your work here in recent days. So to start off with, how did you envision the Tabaxi class, and tell me a little bit about its enhancement tree.
So the Tabaxi race, we had launched into it looking at, like we do for a lot of things, source material from D&D rulebooks. The tough thing with Tabaxi is there historically isn't a lot about them mechanically in a lot of editions of Dungeons & Dragons, but there is a 5th edition stat block for them as player characters. So we started from that. And the core things about them is that they're very dexterous and they're very fast. They have a mechanic in 5th edition where they can move double their speed for a short amount of time, or for one round, and then they have to stand still on the following. From there, we sort of leapt off to, okay, how do we do something like this in DDO that feels good? We don't want to stop you in your tracks, because that doesn't come across feeling very fun. So instead, we flipped it around and said, if you stand still for a little while, like you're about to enter a fight, or you're preparing for something, or even just sizing up an encounter, then you get to go fast. And so it's on the speed boost that they get from this feat that all Tabaxi get at level 1 is action boost typed, so it doesn't stack with, say, sprint boost, but it stacks with most other things, and it gives the Tabaxi a little bit of a different play style in terms of their positioning and how they approach encounters. So with the level cap increasing to 32, that's obviously, more XP you need to pick up on the way up, but as you level into 31 and 32, you get a Destiny feat at 31, and the existing Epic Destiny feat list is available to you, as well as, I think, around a dozen new feats that you can pick from that list that you can only take at level 31 and higher. So there's some new feats that you can take, or you can take one of the existing Destiny feats as well. When you reach level 32, that's when the 4th core of the Epic Destinies that we just revamped comes into play. There's a new 4th core for every Epic Destiny, and they have some cool new skills that you can use to really tackle some dungeons in really high-level content in a new way.
And up here, I've got our page on DDO.com that will go through some of this for you. So if you have questions after seeing the chat here today, you can talk or go to DDO.com and get a little bit of a sense of how all the level cap and that will work. We've been preparing for this, right? So as we were doing the Epic Destiny update here, in the last, year? I guess that's been a focus, right? We've had an opportunity to sort of prepare a little bit ahead for this.
Yes. I mean, we knew when we set out to revamp the Epic Destinies that we wanted to build this into a system that could progress past level 30. So we left room for cores like this, knowing that when we got to 32, one of the first things you'd get would be the fourth core of these trees. But along the way, as we increase the level cap after Dread, there might be other ways that those new levels interact with destinies. Still yet to be seen.
All right. So I wanted to move on to a little bit about dinosaur bone crafting, because that's people want to know about the loot. There's a lot to talk about the loot here as well. So I think Lynnabel, you were heavily involved in this loot system, were you not?
Yeah, this is part of why I was trying to stay quiet earlier, is because we kind of split this work. So Steelstar handled the level cap stuff, and I handled all of the loot. So yes, there's a cool new crafting system coming out, dinosaur bone crafting. You will find dinosaur bones and Isle of Dread content from a variety of different sources within. And you can craft those together to make dinosaur bone augments, which fit into dinosaur bone augment slots. So certain loot in the Isle of Dread is going to have dinosaur bone augment slots, and just match the augments to those slots. You can also rarely find an item in loot that will let you unslot them. So it's not too much of a disaster if you make something and it turns out it's not really what you were looking for. Yeah, and there's hundreds of dinosaur bone augments, including a variety of very rare statistics. And they throw them into 3 disparate groups, like weapon stuff, armor stuff, and accessory stuff. It's definitely not a complicated system. Like, what you see is pretty much what you get. You collect dinosaur bones, and then you can talk to the dinosaur bone trader, and you can hover over each individual one and make sure you're looking for something. The actual dinosaur bones themselves are not actually bound, so you can help each other collect dinosaur bones and make some really cool stuff. And then there's also going to be, like, beyond just the weapons and stuff, artifacts, each of which would have 4 filigree slots, and those fit into 6. They're in, like, belt and necklace and ring and stuff like that. And those are also super cool because they let you use the dinosaur bone augments and not just the original slot parts. All of the weapons have like brand new appearances that you can see in the article. We're particularly proud of the really cool shield. It's a Triceratops skull. That one's my favorite. Also, there's a rune arm that is made out of bones that it looks amazing. That I think people are really gonna like. And I think that's hopefully it's a lot easier for people to put stuff together. For our previous raid crafting system, Legendary Green Steel, like, we're trying to build something that has all of the fun and power of Legendary Green Steel, but is considerably easier for players to build around. So go take a look. It'll be cool.
So, did you say that the bones, the ingredients that people find in the quest, the wilderness area, and when it's released, the raid, are unbound?
I mean, they should be. It's possible that they were not on the test server. I can check that.
I thought they should, but they should be unbound. That's our intention.
Yeah, ideally. We tend to, like, for Sharn crafting and stuff like that, we try to make ingredients unbound because it lets people work together. Like, you can't, give the loot to each other, but you can give the ingredients to each other. So if someone's missing a few, you can help your friends out, help your guildies out, which we think is really cool. Yeah.
So to back up just in terms of the process, as you're running through the quest in the wilderness area, you'll be picking up these ingredients, and then over by where the general vendor is, the general vendor in the village of Isle of Dread, you'll see this NPC, and this NPC is the person you're going to use to, pick up the various augments and things, the Isle of Dread specific augments, the teeth, fang, that sort of thing that you'll be slotting into the weapons that you pick up from various sources. Now, if you can get some directly, but then you'll also be picking some up along the way.
Yeah. It's a hopefully a very simple process. Like, you find the items or you craft the items directly, and then you find or craft the augments that you need, and then you use the augment panel in your inventory in order to slot them together.
That means
So-
the weapons, especially looking at the weapons and other items themselves, they by themselves are really a base kit to put in the various augments to craft the item into what you want, as opposed to something, say, like the traditional named items, which do also exist in Isle of Dread, that have a preset series of benefits, and then you maybe have an augment slot. These are specific Isle of Dread augment slots, in addition to some of them have other general augment slots that you'll be fitting into with these Isle of Dread crafting ingredients. And by doing that and equipping these items, you'll be unlocking some of the Isle of Dread set bonuses.
Yeah, there are set bonuses. Like there are also like really cool named items that are found, like in Isle of Dread. In particular, there's a diving helmet. That's my favorite item in the whole game. The diving helmet is really good. You gotta watch out for that. It's a whole diving helmet. I think it looks amazing.
I don't know if I got the diving helmet on video here. The
It's
tail end of the
so
video is me just
good.
kind of trying
It's
on
really
different
cool.
items quickly. But I think I couldn't find... I either had the helmet or I had the outfit, and I couldn't find both, unfortunately, to get that awesome image there. But yeah. So, all right. So, distribution of all this crafting loot. What do people need to know if they want to get their stuff?
You run Isle of Dread content, and in every single chest, you're going to find some dinosaur bones. There are some dinosaur bones that you can only get in the wilderness, and then there are some dinosaur bones that you can only get from the raid or from special, very difficult, rare wilderness encounters.
We had a question about that earlier. Can I just ask you a little bit about that? So tell me about these. Is it just more... we just sort of have a particularly challenging encounter here? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, these are basically raid bosses. So they're purple named, very large, very difficult monsters that you'll find rarely within the Isle of Dread. And so if like you may need to phone a friend if you find yourself getting overwhelmed. Like these are ideally no joke. But if you manage to defeat them, they drop they're called black pearls. And those are the raid crafting ingredients necessary in order to craft specific, very rare dinosaur bone augments.
All right. Let me see if we can get a few more questions from chat here before we kind of see what we want to talk about next.
I did just check, by the way, and
Yep.
I did accidentally totally bind these things to account, so I can absolutely unbind them, no problem. So that's okay. I think compared to the alternative where they're meant to be bound but they're actually unbound, this is fine.
Yeah.
So I can totally get that fixed.
Asking a question from Luria of Orion. Can we go more into the XP needed for getting from 30 to 32? Only legendary quests give the XP needed to level? Question mark.
Yes.
So yes, it's legendary quests, meaning anyone where the base CR on normal, epic normal is 30 or higher. A lot of other sources of XP do work, stuff like your stones out of daily dice, saga stones, and the sagas don't necessarily have to be legendary sagas, but in terms of quest completion, they must be legendary quests.
Yeah, it's also worth noting every quest that is already legendary before this patch is staying legendary. So you're starting with over 100 quests that are going to give you XP. Like there is no shortage of places you can look if you're, just trying to level up. And Isle of Dread comes with a whole bunch of really cool new ones.
All right. In terms of grouping, say if you are above level 30, my understanding is you can still group with your epic level friends, correct?
That's correct.
Yes. So you can group with your epic level friends. If you are running epic content and you are level 30 or higher, you're not going to gain legendary XP for that because it's not a legendary quest. But your epic friends will still gain epic XP. If they're running legendary content with you, they'll still gain epic XP and you'll gain legendary XP.
Yeah, that's another important part of it. If you're in epics and you're looking to level up through epics, you can still play legendary quests.
Yes.
Like, we didn't just remove 100 quests from your leveling flow. It's exactly the same flow as it was before. All of our changes are specifically around levels 31 and 32.
kind of related to that, we should probably mention that epic reincarnation is not changing with
That's
this
correct.
level cap increase. And as a matter of fact, your legendary XP progress is preserved through epic reincarnation.
Yes, like if you're worried because you're trying to get Epic Live Sun, do not be. They're not changing. Same with Iconics, that's still at level 30. We're not going to be moving
Yep.
that finish line.
And if you gained legendary XP and you epic reincarnate, when you return to level 30, you'll get that legendary XP back.
Yes, so you don't have to level up to 32 every single time. It's just a part of your character.
Do you know, I'm seeing some questions. Is it at least 30 on normal than it is legendary? Correct.
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah.
30 or higher.
Yeah, the quest base level is 30.
Yeah. Hey, this is a good chance to talk about questions. What would you like to mention? You can see here I'm actually starting to show off some of the items here. This was just grabbed this week from Lemania, so there could be a few little inconsistencies, and there was a couple little lag spikes that you'll see in there too. But for the most part, I just showed off the stuff.
I do want to call out that we had some amazing, amazing art in this patch. Probably some of our studio's best. I would say Tabaxi is probably the best player race that we've put together. The way that they're animated especially, and their physical features is just amazing. I don't know if you all could have seen this, but they blink. They move their eyes. They open and close their mouth, which is insane. That's insanely cool.
You can have a broken bottle.
There's the dagger that's a broken bottle that I just saw fly by on screen that I really want to call out that the broken bottle dagger is really good. And the rune arm is a cannon, which I also thought was cool.
I couldn't equip the rune arm because I wasn't an artificer, so, you know, yeah. I forgot to do that. I forgot to be an arty, so, yeah.
That's okay. If we do have some time, though, I do want to call out that there are some other changes in this patch that we're really excited to talk about.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So these were all on Lemania, so you all can take a look at that. But one of the big things that we did was we changed how teleport items work. So before, if you had like the Bottle of Mist from Ravenloft and you had the Boarding Pass from Sharn, you would have to keep both of those things on your person, which is like, you know, it starts to add up. There's a lot of inventory slots that you're dedicating. And what we did is we kind of merged them together. So now every single expansion-related teleport item, so this is your Tuning Fork from Feywild, this is your Boarding Pass from Sharn, this is the Compass from Saltmarsh. Now all of them can take you to any destination, but those destinations only work if you actually own the destination. Like you don't just get to go everywhere, but you don't have to keep those original items on you. So if you have the Bottle of Mist and you've got the Saltmarsh Compass, you can throw one of those away, and whichever one of the ones you keep can take you to that other destination. So this could save you 3 or 4 inventory slots, and as we continue to make these, they'll get added into the previous one. So we're not going to keep, making more stuff. And no, this does not include the key to Evening Star, because that is not that is a different type of reward. So unfortunately not, and also not the D20 from or the D100, I think it is, from the anniversary event.
Yeah.
But that one I'm really excited about. And there's a whole bunch of UI changes that are also really cool. Most notably, you can now search for quest name or level in the quest selection panel. There's the diving helmet.
Yeah. Briefly.
That's excellent.
Briefly.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you're making an LFM and you're trying to find a quest, there's now a search bar. You just type the name of the quest, press enter, and it'll pop right up. You can also search for levels. So if you're looking for all level 19s, type in 19, press enter, there you go. Which hopefully really helps people set up their cool LFMs. Is there anything else in this patch, Steelstar, that you worked on? Or
there was one question I had that I think we could address, and this is from Terabyte Tavern. What about the new Caneth crafting, like the mystical item recipes?
Oh, right. Oh, that's been something people have been bugging me about for years. There are special crafting ingredients that in old Caneth crafting that was revamped in around 2015 used to be used for specific recipes. And now we've added new recipes for those so that if you still have those or you get new ones, they make special shards that apply the new dual prefixes from random loot. So if you're looking for a little extra oomph on some of your crafted items, there's I think 7 or 8 new crafting shards that are available.
And also, we can now do level 31 items, right?
Yes, 31 and 32 items are back on the list. And if you have previous 31 and 32 shards, they're the same shards, so like you already have them, so you're good. And yeah, what's really interesting is Kenneth crafting is scaled the same as random loot. So it actually might be quite cool to experiment with Kenneth crafting items in your gear set, which I think would be pretty cool. My sword is that is a replica of Frostmourne, which I collect. It is not a sword of shadow. It is very close, though.
What is this mysterious ring they're talking about?
Oh my gosh! So so we redid a whole bunch of loot with update 50 when we redid the Seal Scroll Shard crafting system, and we streamlined that whole process, and we kind of merged all those packs together. And one of the items that was present in Heroic Sands of Nectarin, but never actually got an epic version, was the Mysterious Ring, which I'm going to pull the screen back a little bit. This is some insider info. There are actually 4 of them. That's how it does the mysterious part, like those randomized effects. There are actually just 4 rings. Anyway, so I had no idea what to do with this ring. Not a single clue until someone mentioned, why don't you do the same thing that you do with the Gem of Many Facets, where you let people key it for crafting, but then you apply a Sans set bonus to it. So 4 of the Sans heroic set bonuses are now on the 4 different mysterious rings, and you can Kenneth craft on them.
Nice.
And it's just a cool little thing. And like this is only for heroic because these items never actually got the pathway to build up. But I think it's better than just leaving them like not really very functional in the game. So you know, I think it was a fun little side project.
All right. So what else? What else should we be talking about here in terms of big systems here with Isle of Dread? I think we covered a lot of the basics.
Yeah.
Named loot.
Yeah,
Where will people just find the named loot? The standard named loot.
It's just like in quests. Like you
Yeah.
drift in quests as normal. Like there's some really cool stuff in there, and there's some cool new set bonuses. And in Legendary, some of the items, specifically the accessories, actually have a dinosaur bone crafting slot. So you can customize your legendary items to match them up to your build. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a big pile of bug fixes and a variety of other miscellaneous UI changes. There's some really funny bug fixes too. Like as it turns out in our UI, if you used any search bar at all, like any search bar, it would also sort your shared bank, which is very funny but unintended. And so that bug is fixed. But I thought that was hilarious. I can answer a few questions from the chat.
So Basement Warrior wants to know, can we talk about the Isle of Dread blanks, the dinosaur bone crafting blanks as they were? How does that work, and what are our options to get them?
Well, I believe, because it's been a hot second since I've looked at this, so there are a set of weapons that you can trade for directly with the trader. Like either all weapon types are available. So if you're looking for a specific weapon, that's the best way to get them. They also rarely drop in the actual Isle of Dread content. So if you're looking for a Mythic or a Reaper bonus, that's how you get those. But mostly you go to the trader. There are also 6 artifacts, minor artifacts in this that can drop from any chest in Legendary and Isle of Dread. And those are like belt, necklace, ring, bracers,
I think there's
gloves,
maybe a trinket in there.
Maybe. But yeah, so the artifacts they drop like regular artifacts do. So like any chest in Legendary has a small chance to drop one. And then the other blanks, as it were, for example, the armor sets and the shields, the attuned bone weapons, which are significantly better. They have a new set bonus and they have better base dice. and also the cloak and the helmet. Those drop from the raid. So that's the Isle of Dread raid loot, is being able to take that to the next level.
And that'll be coming a few weeks after release. People
That's
will be
correct.
seeing it on Lamania first. We're going to do a preview of it and then bring it out. But it's going to be just maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a little bit longer, something like that. But not perhaps as long as the one from Feywild, so to speak.
Yes,
So
I can
it'll
say
be
that the
happening
raid,
much more quickly than that.
the raid boss is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. It's very big. And I think it's really cool. I think it's really, really cool.
All right, so what about star fragments, nebula fragments? Are we going to see them in Dread?
No, but there's going to be a new way to acquire them. So as part of our ongoing efforts that as content gracefully ages, we make things that are rare easier and easier to obtain, so that if you're still hunting for something, we can give you a little bit of a break. You'll be able to trade for star and nebula fragments directly. If in the I believe it's in the legendary altar. So if you have 100 of any of the 7 non-Saltmarsh epic and legendary crafting packs, so this is like Fjarlund Carnival and Sands of Nectarine, you can trade 100 of those for a star fragment in order to upgrade your item. So this is something, if you do not have access to Saltmarsh, you'll be able to get your legendary versions of those items. And if you have extra star fragments, 100 of those turn into a nebula fragment. So if you're looking for one of those perfected artifacts, it is hopefully going to be a lot easier for you to do that.
Will Hardcore Season 6 be launching before or after the raid? As it stands today, after.
Yeah.
We haven't announced when either's happening. So,
right.
Yes.
But yes. We could mention, I guess, that someone's asking any plans for sort of like Crystal Cove here in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can go into too much detail.
We've talked about, we don't want to go into too much detail, but we'd said, I think in the producer's letter for this year that we were working on some Crystal Cove changes for this summer. We're not ready to talk about them yet.
That'll be coming up pretty soon, though.
Yeah,
it
will be coming up pretty fast
soon,
after Dread.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Although one thing we can say is that when we talk about Crystal Cove changes, we're talking about changes to the flow of the event. So this is not an overhaul of the rewards. This is kind of us looking at the actual event as a whole. So it is one of our oldest events, and we're really happy to kind of modernize some of the cool things. So we're really excited for you all to see it.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching our Isle of Dread preview on twitch.tv/DDO stream. I want to thank Steelstar. I want to thank Lynnabel for joining me here today. In just a couple of minutes, once we get the camera settled up, we'll be having Severlin and Tolero join us here for the last half hours for some general Dread and general Q&A to wrap up our Isle of Dread preview. Now, Isle of Dread coming up real quick, and you can find out more about it on DDO.com. So we'll be back in just a minute. Thank you so much, Steelstar. Thanks, Lynnabel, for joining us.
Welcome. Thanks, everybody.